Hello, my name is Asiana Van Sapp, and I will be discussing with you today developing and training of staff and how important that is. This is for my final project for this class, and let's go ahead and get started. So for this class, this is my PowerPoint presentation, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the challenges facing human resources when it comes to the impact of the healthcare organization through the training or poor training and development of staff. So my specific challenge is proper training. This issue, of course, can be ignored, and I've seen it ignored for several months within my own organization. So I'm using this as a real life situation. And with that has come a whole lot of issues. Basically, the team has really been struggling to align with the organization's goals and their vision. And with that comes with poor competencies, duplicated work, low morale, just unclear objectives, and really unable to understand what their role and responsibility is. I work in a department that kind of covers health and home care, hospice, and palliative care intake, admissions, as well as insurance and billing. So this does decrease the quality of care for our patients. So I wanted to talk a little bit about um, how this is impactful for also staff. When staff are not able to feel proficient in their work, they do disengage from the work, thus as a reflection of the organization as well, not being engaged with the work, a decrease in productivity. HR is a key component to really helping staff become productive. They actually do, with my HR department, does a lot of the developmental training and um, help others kind of close the knowledge gap when it comes to training as well within our organization. Um, they are to really work with managers to kind of align the expectations of each role and then train to that. So HR can definitely help engage staff in their work, and they can also help build and encourage task autonomy. So with this, we're looking at now a list of possible solutions, and these have been evidence-based solutions that a lot of organizations are doing, a lot of HR departments are doing, that would help managers to solve the issue of training. One would be training questionnaires. Training questionnaires you can do before or after training, basically to understand where the person's at and the level of training they've had for a specific role. Now, they were hired into a role, however, every organization, every company is different. So if you do a training questionnaire beforehand, you can kind of look and pinpoint what the gaps may be for an employee or staff member. And then after the training questionnaires, basically asking them how they felt about the training, were they able to retain the information, even a different type of quiz or testing can help along with the questionnaire, but really to understand how they learn and develop and how they were able to receive the information is key. Also, observation and task analysis inventories are a great way to, after training and within training, help develop staff. So we do a lot of task analysis basically after an employee has been a part of the organization in a specific department for a number of weeks or months. We'll go and share side and discuss with them and sit with them and observe and see how they're doing, and making sure that they're actually following protocol and procedure with each task. So this can be very vital and helpful when developing staff and training and follow-up. I think follow-up is key. So I also put down conduct a process walk for each role. And a process walk is basically like a Gemba walk, which is a lean terminology for go to the work. So go see where the work is done, see how the employee or staff member is developing, how they're doing within the work. When you start to see those gaps and you catch them early, you can help support that staff member for success and set them up for success. So that's another key, and that's to conduct a process walk for each role. Monthly one-on-ones with managers that are consistent would really help with the training and development piece, because it holds managers accountable to go to their staff member and talk with them and have that one-on-one time to say, how are you doing with this role? Is there anything I need to follow up with or help you with? And if there's still a continued knowledge gap, they can train to it. So normally within my organization, we will do a 30-day follow-up, or we'll do a 90-day follow-up after that. So that's kind of helping us see if the person really truly is a good fit for the role and really truly ready to move on maybe for more tasks, or if there's more training and development needed. So that is also a great tool. Implementing a feedback loop for managers to get updates on how the training is going. So if HR, or maybe in conjunction with a corporate trainer, is doing a lot of your training, you may want to also be able to have a direct feedback loop, meaning maybe they're doing a email system where they're emailing you on a weekly basis. If you have a 4 to 6 week training, 4 to 8 week training, depending on your organization, I know mine has a number of them, they can actually give you an email report out to say, this person seems to be excelling in these areas, they're doing great, they need to work on X, Y, and Z, or, we're going to need to apply a little bit more of a robust approach for a certain staff member so they can actually get through the training. So these are all key to actually helping, and that feedback is always going to really help us grow in our training and development. The next possible solution could be make clear the goals of the training and development expectations for the team. So a lot of times going into training, staff don't really understand what they're kind of getting into. You really want to set clear objectives for the training and what it's supposed to be. Training is not supposed to be like a fix-all. You're going to do a lot of on-the-job learning as well. However, training is to help develop a firm organizational foundation. Knowing what is expected of you and the team, as a whole, individually and collectively, is key to really knowing what they need to be doing. So that's another good tip. So utilizing and teaching Sigma 6 methodology, which was definitely created to reduce defective rates, and it's a process that I also use as well, and I lead it through analysis and utilizing 5 whys and different things and different different task analysis tools as well. But there are 2 really good approaches that I'd like to discuss here to help develop and train teams. That's the DMAIC or DMAC and the DMADV, or the DMVED. So, and I just spell them out. So with the DMAIC, that's to define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. And this often will identify a problem early on so you can actually solve it in your current process rather than waiting for a future solution. So we can apply that also to the training model as well, and we can also teach to that. So staff can then come in early and say, hey, I'm really struggling with these things and I really need help with this, and they can actually start becoming problem solvers themselves. With the DMADV, that's define, measure, analyze, design, and verify. That actually makes teams more consistent, and you can actually develop that a little bit more with your teams when it comes to the training. But if you train to it, define their goals. Okay, now we're going to measure if you're meeting those. We can actually analyze how you're being trained and the metrics that you're being held accountable for. We can design even more training from that as well, and we can verify that it's working by getting the feedback. So there's different things that we can utilize in these 2 structured tools to help with the training program as well. Managers can definitely use these. They can train on them and they can utilize them. So you also want to make sure, that tasks and resources are available and they're documented. One thing is that when you send someone out of training, just having them be able to have a resource and different tools that they're capable of, so they're not always having to go run back to the manager, who may not be available at every beck and call, of course, to answer those questions. So it's empowering staff to take a hold and have that task autonomy, job autonomy. So tools for transcendence, I just really wanted to hit home on helping staff go above and beyond. So training questionnaires, of course, I had mentioned before, observation and task analysis, of course, these are tools that can assist, every team member on really becoming proficient and productive. So those are the goals. These tools also help managers because it helps them understand the work that their teams are doing. It holds them accountable to follow up, and it also makes managers valuable resources as well when they're needed. So steps for implementing my solution or the solution that I was thinking would be best, I had a number of them, but really the steps are going to be working collaboratively with HR. Really discussing any challenges, disagreements. If you're seeing stagnation in your training, that's going to be key. But you have to look at and develop that relationship with HR who's helping with the training. So HR brings a number of things to the table. They have that knowledge of the organizational behavior to connect people and lifestyles. They can help create a positive atmosphere around training. They also can help implement change through staff engagement, process improvement initiatives, actually building trust. So you have your solutions and how to apply them. Now you need to take things to HR and say, hey, I want to make this more team specific. I would like to use this for team building and whatever's next. Just really collaborating with managers, collaborating with HR to reach organizational goals is going to be key. So in conclusion, for me, just a robust training and development plan are really quite essential for the success of any team. Primarily, the reason behind that is because we're introducing staff members and new staff to the organization's values and their value streams, and also what we hold dear to the organization as a whole. So we're putting out there the vision, and we want them to clearly understand the objective. For managers, they need to work with HR to help provide the guidance to actually the team-specific training. And there's such good tools and a plethora of information out there that HR is already aware of when it comes to training, whether it's online, face-to-face, through training modules. They help with a lot of different procedures and policies as well, but they can really help your teams. But you've got to be able to communicate and just let HR know what the needs are to close that training gap and retain staff as well. That's really key. So these are just some references that I use. I really like Tools Hero as well and Mindset Matters. Those are great tools to use. I also, like to do research on just different research papers that really help. I'm really, passionate about ethics within organizations and how that reflects in HR. So these are just a few tools that I like to use. So that's it from me. I really appreciate your feedback, and I thank you for watching this video. Thank you, and have a good day.